for this project, there are three main focuses that I have. So what's different this time around, because I did this, I did this already, and I had already gone through like doing the documentary. Then the challenges that I encountered, and what I think I could do going in the future if I were to continue to polish this even further, because I really do believe that no project is really truly done, right? You can always, there's always room for improvement. So those are the three main topics. So first, like what's different? What did I focus on this time around? So the main things I want to this time around, I want to focus more on the abstract things, right? So I focus a lot heavily on like graphics, like titles, lower thirds, and some of the things I did there is I changed the lower thirds completely to spice them up. I wanted something that like what really kind of fit more with the theme, because it's little girls, it's a little bit girly, it's skating, so make it more fun, right? Before, like I was thinking, it's a documentary, it's got to be like, like this nice clean cut, like, straightforward professional look. But that's not the case, right? Because you want to think about your target audience and what the story's about. So I changed the graphics, I made it pink. I think the animation is definitely better with the graphic template that I utilized. I had a nice color scheme. I did like pink and white. That was my color scheme. I kept Helvetica because as a text font, because I watched a documentary about Helvetica, and it's like a standard. Helvetica is everywhere you go. That's like, it's nice and easy to read, and it's really clean. I really like Helvetica, and I'll stand by it like, no matter what. I didn't want to go for anything too fancy because I looked at a lot of different fonts. I mean, I tried so many different fonts, but I don't want to be too fancy because it becomes difficult to read, and I don't want to take away from what's on screen, And title screens are only up for a certain period of time, and some of the title screens I had were kind of long, right? Because I had some quotes in there from the movie, and I had some quotes from like some female athletes and stuff like that, which is also a thing I added, which is really nice. I wanted to do that the first time, but I didn't do it. So I really like focus on titles and stuff like that. So that's what I kind of did with the titles. So I made the screens pink and white. Changed up the theme. I added the lower thirds. And I added quotes and stuff like that to spice it up a little bit. I also did a little bit. I rearranged some clips to change the character development, right? So I introduced some of the folks earlier on. Um, I kind of wish that I changed the title of the documentary, because my take on this was I was really focusing on the parents, and the parents telling like their story and explaining kind of what it is and explain what their journey has been like. Because for me, the focus was really more about parents informing people about what's going on and encouraging people to have their children do the same, right? I didn't focus much on like the girls' stories or perspectives themselves. So that was kind of the plan of attack that I had going into this. So I introduced the parents earlier on, and I adjusted some of the lower thirds as well. I know one of the issues I had previously was like I didn't have lower thirds underneath the respective persons. I just always put it in the left side. So you'll see that I adjusted the lower thirds, and I put them underneath the person whose it is. But I was just kind of like I said, I think that this time around my mind was a lot more free and open and receptive to information and like knowledge, and I also have more experience with editing with Premiere and stuff like that. So that was kind of that kind of was the driving force behind a lot of the changes that I had. I would definitely say that, yeah, that was definitely the biggest driving force behind why I did a lot of things I did. It was just really like a complete new understanding because I just attacked this differently. And I think being away from it for a while, I came back, had a different perspective, and I've also learned a lot. So that helped a lot. Now, some of the challenges that I encountered, obviously it's COVID-19 pandemic, and that's been very difficult, like being at home for me, for like a lot of different reasons. But it's just being at home is not the most conducive environment for like completing college work period, much less editing. Because when I edit, like I just sit down for like, like 4 to like 6 hours, and I just grind, and there could be a lot of distractions. It was very difficult for me. Dealing with that. So that was a big challenge, and that that has a huge effect on the creative process. Also, my computer. I have a 2012 MacBook Pro that is in like rough shape. I managed to download Premiere, the latest version on there, And I also have a Samsung T5 SSD, which I think was my saving grace, because without that I wouldn't have been able to really do this. I still encountered a lot of problems. It was a lot of issues, loading stuff up. It was really slow. It was clunky. Like my screen is still very small, and it was tough, right? And so actually, my professor recommended that I get like um like a basically a connection to connect my laptop to an external monitor. And it turns out my cousin actually had just like got this little 24-inch TV or whatever it was, that he saw on the curb, like someone was getting rid of it or something. And he picked it up, and so I was actually able to utilize that, which was a big help. I casted my screen to it, and it made everything a lot better. Things were big. I could see what I was doing, because I had a lot of issues with the panel boxes, the project on boxes as well, and that was even challenging. A lot of my issues that I counter, like to this day, and that frustrates me the most, are like not things pertaining to the project itself, but just like the operation of Premiere. Like, even though I'm a lot better with Premiere now and I've learned a lot, my memory is kind of awful, and I always Google stuff and I figure out how to do stuff. But honestly, if I don't do it like 10, 20 times, the next time I come around, I might forget how to do that. So it was a lot of that slows my process down a lot. So that was really challenging for me, dealing with the dealing with Premiere and stuff like that. So the TV definitely helped. Having the T5 SSD helped, because my computer is not that good. I wish I had a pair of like headphones or noise canceling headphones, which is an investment like I want to make one day, because that would have helped a lot. Like playing things out loud what is suited for editing. I know my one of my professors told me that before, but it's only suitable for editing when you're in an editing room all by yourself, and there's no distractions, stuff like that. So I wish I had a nice pair of headphones, like block out the noise, and so I could actually hear what I was doing and understand things well. But with that being said, I still made the best of with what I had, because like audio was another big focus of my project this time around. Specifically speaking, the the transitions between A roll and B roll, getting those to be nice and smooth, adjusting my music, adjusting my gain, stuff like that. I focus on that really heavily. And I get really particular sometimes, which is another thing that elongates my time. I will go through and I'll like edit like the same thing a gazillion times. So I'm still working on that, and it's a developing process. So hopefully I get much better with doing that. So some of the things that I kind of I want to focus on next time, as I continue to like polish this out, would probably be like color grading. I didn't like touch that. I think that'd be very nice. I feel like a lot of the clips are like, they kind of obviously not color graded, right? So they're kind of dull. I feel like this could be a lot more rich, right? I think it adds a lot to the experience, the visual experience, because even though it's a documentary, there's only two things. There's A roll and B roll. And I have some titles in there, right? But it can still get kind of boring, I think. And I think if you have like the viewing experience, if the images are a lot more rich, and attractive, that would definitely help with everything. So that's kind of my look back on this project. Um, very very difficult, still, but I think I definitely made huge strides. I just switched up a lot of things, with like the titles and polishing some of the connections. I rearranged, I moved some of the clips to introduce some people earlier. I got rid of some stuff and I added a little bit of new things. So that's the GIPshare project. And you just view the images of my timeline and the Premiere project. Thank you.